fiction for us today. Meaghan Loraas is a third-year fiction student in the Texas State University MFA program. Her work has appeared in McSweeney's Internet Tendency, New South, Subterranean, and others. She's currently working on her first novel and enjoys binge-watching television and drinking IPAs that taste like trees. She also really likes to laugh, so we know she's having a great time. Her favorite ice cream flavor, which is my guilty pleasure, is chocolate peanut butter swirl. Please welcome Meaghan.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I'm very nervous as well. I'm going to be reading from a new story that I wrote this semester. I had the pleasure of having Karen Russell as my workshop teacher this semester. And so she was like, okay, you guys got to write a ghost story from an omniscient point of view. And then I wrote this, which is not anything that she asked for. It's still a ghost story, and it means a lot to me. So this is called Fruition. I've been imagining my own death lately. A lot of people from my school days are dead now, like the sweet boy who always cheered for me during the 800-meter run at track meets even though he was a sprinter. He was found shot to death in the trunk of his forest-abandoned car. Or that girl who accidentally gave me rope burn around my neck at a third-grade sleepover. Her brother died in Afghanistan. The last video he sent was of him dancing shirtless in the barracks, and his mother still hasn't been able to watch it. At first because she missed her boy too much, now because she misses her boy too much. Or my best friend Anne, pinned between a big rig and the concrete support beam of an overpass near Atlanta, Texas. I would think that these visions of my own death have more to do with this thick grief mucus I've been wading through since April, except for the fact that the other night I saw a ghost in my front yard. I went out there because it was foggy. They're doing construction on the house across the street, and they've been using these amber work lights until all hours of the night. I wanted to see what the combination of orange light and haze would remind me of. Anne used to make fun of me for things like that before she got stuck in traffic 6 months ago and some asshole fell asleep at the wheel. It took them 3 hours to get her out of her car. She was 29, we were the same age. I am now 30. I would tell Anne about doing things like going down to the river once a day for a year and jumping in, my first lonely year back home after graduating college, before she'd moved back home too. She'd ask, why? She'd say, how artsy of you. She'd joke with my dad over dinner now and 15 years ago and infinitely in between. But Anne would have walked out with me that night into the murk. If she'd been there, alive, she would have said, girl, how? Again with this? We're 30. But she would have put on her flips, submerged herself in an oversized Patriots hoodie she'd stolen from a high school boyfriend, crossed her arms, and followed me into the driveway. I would have told her that the orange light and haze reminded me of a stranger coming out of an alley in New York City, though I've never been, or of a glittering manhole cover in the middle of a wet cobblestone street, or of a forest fire that just cannot be stopped. Anne would have said, of course, it reminds you of those things. That makes total sense, Smartsy. I saw the ghosts after I'd stared at the condensation tufting through patches of light for quite a while, so at first I thought I was just watching brown clouds move. As I walked back up my driveway to the square of yellow light at my kitchen door, I saw it. Like Peter Pan's shadow move from the wooded side of the duplex to the brick space between my window and my roommate's. Not only did the thing look pretty masculine, no curve at all, but it crouched down until it disappeared. I wish Anne was my ghost, but I know it can't be her. Anne would fuck with me way more than that. I didn't tell my roommate about the ghost until I heard all of the glass break in the house at midnight last night. The clatter woke me. I'd fallen asleep reading a book about dragons. I yelled from my room, "What did you break this time, asshole?" Better not be one of my glasses or that bowl. And he yelled back, "What the hell are you talking about, freak?" And so I got up before he could get rid of the evidence. Barefoot in the kitchen, I checked, and all of my pint glasses were fine. The dragonfly bowl that Anne made in a senior citizen ceramics class she'd accidentally signed up for was fine. So were the plates, all the windows too, not a shard to be found. After I explained the noise to my roommate, I told him about the ghost. He asked me if I was staying up too late again, which was rich coming from him. I had been the one asleep at midnight and he'd been playing his PS4. He made me tea, he gave me one of his Klonopin. He said he noticed my fidgeting and that my fingernails were gone. He said, "Hallie, I'm worried about you. Have you called your dad? Have you tried to talk to anyone?" And my dad loved Anne. She was family. 15 years, almost 16 together. And again, I'm 30, and though I've spent just as much of my life without Anne as I have with her, I am alone for the first time. Half a year later, and my dad is still wrecked in a way I've never seen him. He smokes cigars now. I'm almost positive he had never smoked a cigar before in his whole life. Now he's got a thing that cuts them and a big green ashtray in his den. I can't call him because it feels like I make him more sad with my sad. And without Anne's harmony, I am not sure if my sad flute song holds up solo. She was the rest of the marching band, the percussion, and I am used to being engulfed or entwined like those two snakes on the crest that doctors swear to when they take the Hippocratic Oath. But my roommate did give me an idea. He's right, I haven't tried to talk to anyone. So that's why I'm at Target at 11 a.m. on a Friday. I didn't have to teach today, I canceled my meetings, and I'm trying not to imagine the shelving collapsing onto me, breaking my neck and suffocating me, a rogue penny dropped from the pocket of a skydiver crashing through the roof, and lodging into my brain like a pebble into jello. A white guy shooter armed with an automatic weapon. I'm trying to just focus on the board game aisle. I'm buying a Ouija board. Yeah. Anne and I played with a Ouija board once in high school. We were 16 and grounded. We got caught egging her ex-boyfriend's house at 4 in the morning when we both said we were sleeping at the other's house. We were never as sneaky as we thought we were, and Clay's mother called my dad after recognizing my spray-painted Camaro and our laughter peeling out of the cul-de-sac, our hair blowing free because we never rode with the T-tops in. Anne's mom and dad are unreasonably strict. They are. Anne lied about drinking a soda when she was 13, and her mother brought it up at a birthday party when we were 25. So, whenever possible, my dad would punish us as a unit when we got in trouble instead of telling her parents. But all that really meant was that we had to stay at the house when we hung out every day, only allowed to leave for school and errands he sent us on. A week into our 2-week grounding for egging Clay's house, we went to Goodwill to find my dad a tie. He had to go to a wedding the next day and didn't think any of his ties said "Love Everlasting." He said he trusted us to pick the right one. I think he was feeling guilty about our house arrest, or he was sick of the living room furniture being rearranged into a diamond for our aluminum foil baseball games. Anne modeled the ties. One made her look like a very important person. One made her look like she got invited to a party where she didn't know anyone. But we finally found a nice green tie for my dad. It brought out Anne's eyes, and we agreed that the color reminded us of pine, evergreens, and forever. We weren't eager to get back to the house, the bits of paper stuck in the carpet in my room, the buzz of boredom lit by yellow and wood paneling. We walked the aisles, and Anne found it. She broke a porcelain figure of Mary and her little lamb, which we had to pay for, in her excitement to grab the Ouija board. She said, "Hal, we're getting this." I was sure if she was sure. My dad went into the attic to get the Christmas decorations, all of my gone mother's abandoned candles. She left everything sentimental, only took what she could sell. But on the bright side, my dad said, now we had ambiance for the seance. Before my dad went to his room, he said, "Girls, I ain't afraid of no ghost." And then he hummed the Ghostbusters theme song to himself down the hallway after a too hearty chuckle. Anne and I rolled our eyes at each other. Anne got the internet going on my dad's office computer. She danced while she mimicked the squeals and beeps. She said, "Artsy fartsy, you've got mail." And she asked Jeeves how to use a Ouija board, and 20 minutes later, we had printed instructions by candlelight. And then there's like this Ouija board scene. They talk to this like ghost named Mommy that tells them the future. And that happens. So I don't know if Ouija boards work if there's only one person. I also don't know if they work if you buy them from Target on sale for $12.99. It's still in the bag by the front door. I saw my roommate look into it as he walked in from work, but he didn't say anything. He brought me a beer, and now we're both sitting on the couch watching a Netflix documentary about depression. It's not very subtle. He asks, "Hey, Hallie, did you call your dad yet?" And I say, "Hey, no, I did not." And I imagine his sword on the mantle falling, taking a bad bounce, stabbing me through the heart. I have a routine worry that a puddle of water has spread from his bathroom to under the couch, and then I'll stand up and I'll slip and crack my head on the fireplace. And now I can't stop looking at the fireplace. And now I am too aware of the hollow of my chest, the missing timbre of Anne's laugh when I won't be able to tell her about this later, my roommate's attempt at therapy. The light is weird in here. A flicker catches my eye, but my roommate doesn't turn. There's a fire in the fireplace, but it wasn't just there before. I hit his arm and point, and I say, "It's not that cold out, buddy." And he says, "I know." And I search his face for the joke, and I turn back to the fireplace. The fire is gone, but Peter Pan, that fucker, is cross-legged on the floor in front of the hearth, and he waves a quick, jerky movement. A sludge of fear works its way up my throat, but the ghost is gone before I can vomit an exclamation. The light is almost back to normal as anything has been for the last 6 months. I am exhausted. I am pissed. Who is this guy and why? I just want Anne. "Hallie," my roommate says, "what's wrong?" My roommate puts his hand on my thigh. He's trying to be comforting, I know, but I could crawl out of my skin. Right now, I think I don't want to be touched ever again. And whether it was self-fulfilling or not, the Ouija board has been right so far. I want to use it, but I don't. Even if I could talk to Anne, even if I could tell my ghost to leave me alone, I don't know if I want to know some things. What if it tells me how I die and I stop thinking until the end because there's nothing left at all to wonder about? Anne and I talked every day for the last 15 years, and we never really talked about the Ouija board. It faded into our tapestry, just a purple thread from high school, and I actually only remembered it because of my roommate saying I should talk to someone, and thank God for that. Because if I had known 14 years ago that fucking board was actually predicting our lives, I think I would have gone crazy. Anne was not the first person I came out to, and I never told her that. I came out to a girl we went to high school with. She was the only other gay woman I knew, and we dated during our sophomore year of college. I kept it a secret, never mentioned her when I came home to visit, and Anne always asked if I was dating anyone, who I was sleeping with, and I didn't answer. I told her about my organic chemistry class, how my 45 was a B because of the curve, that my neighbors sounded like they were dropping bowling balls above my bed every night, and that I was pretty sure I was allergic to beer. But Anne had a steering wheel blow through her chest, believing that my frantic phone call the summer we were 20 was due to my anxiety about telling her. But in reality, a friend had seen me and my girlfriend holding hands, and I was terrified that he'd tell Anne. He didn't. But when I told her I was gay, she said, "Duh." "I don't know why you were so worried about telling me. It doesn't matter." And it took me until 3 years ago to realize that Anne was my first love. I barely answered Anne's text for weeks, and I said I was busy until she showed up at my apartment with wine and 2 wine glasses in her fingers on a Saturday morning. She said, "What the hell is going on with you?" So I told her. I told her I was in love with her. I told her I didn't know how I didn't realize it before, and that I was so sorry. Anne's face, those green eyes, the way she danced in the car on road trips, the way she has always told me what she is thinking. I desperately searched for relief in her skin, her body across from mine on my couch, and it came when she said, "Me too." So we drank a bottle of wine wrapped up in each other on my living room floor in silence, rain dripping from the trees out back, gray skies quilted over the apartment. And we realized something together that day, I think. We have always been in between friends and family, girlfriends and lovers, this and that. Or maybe I'm just projecting, hoping, trying to find a way for these tendrils of regret to burst out of my chest so I can find some sort of relief. I'd always planned on talking to her more about it one day, maybe when things calmed down, when life gave us a break, or when I figured more out. But now there's nothing, right? I want to ask her, what is the point of any of this anymore if you are not here, Anne? And why aren't you here? And who did you send instead? That's all I have time for, but there's another ghost. So.